This week in SUTV Sports, NASCAR had their drivers racing in the rain and ship facilities go under construction. All that and more right here on SUTV Sports. Los Angeles Lakers guard Danny Green and his fiancée Blair Basham received death threats on social media after Green missed a shot in Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Green missed an open three off a pass from LeBron James with just 7.1 seconds remaining in the game. Basham, a former Purdue volleyball player, posted the attacks that she was receiving. Green said that he had to ask his fiancée, start quote, "Are you getting death threats?" end quote, and she said, start quote, "Yeah, you are too," end quote. Green mentioned in an interview that he does not usually pay attention to these remarks by angry fans, nor does he usually care about them. He said that media bullying has been a part of his Laker experience that he has learned to block out. Lakers guard said that maybe he should be a little more concerned and safe when it comes to these situations. Green and the Lakers were able to bounce back in Game 6 to win their 17th NBA title against the Miami Heat by a final score of 106-93. NASCAR visited the Charlotte Roval this weekend and made some history along the way. SUTV's Jacob Hitz has more.
A wet and wild weekend at Charlotte as the Xfinity Series took to the track first, and boy, it was just a mess. They started out with rain lurking near the speedway, the track relatively dry at the green flag. Then on lap 13, the rain came, and boy, did it come fast. And we saw crash after crash after crash after crash. There went one car into the wall, another one around off the front stretch chicane. And here we go, same car, same corner, different lap. He's around again. Then the leader goes around, same corner, another car loops it. And then we finally see the caution flag come out with this crash, taking two cars into the wall. The 44 Tommy Joe Martins, the 61 also in the wall there of Austin Hill, the 5 of Matt Mills. He'll join in the middle of your screen right about there as the 6 of Ryan Vargas. He spun, he gets the drive away. So the caution comes out, and another car spins for good measure under caution. 7 separate incidents in the span of a lap, and they were only 14 laps in to the race. The rain just kept coming down, visibility was at all but zero, and so was the traction on the racetrack. Standing water, a huge problem, and it caused guys to turn corners into options instead of requirements. As you'll see as they come down here to the front stretch chicane, they hit the standing water, and there goes one car just straight off the track. There goes another. He's going to follow him. Handling was impossible with these race cars in these conditions. Then, with just a few laps to go in Stage 2, the leaders in the wall, the 7, Justin Allgaier, the 18, Riley Herbst, and here comes the rest of the pack. They all pile in. The 11 of Justin Haley, the 1 of Michael Annett, a couple of others are able to make it through with some minor damage, but a big pileup brings out the caution flag, and the carnage just keeps going. In the end, A.J. Allmendinger brought his number 16 Colleague Racing Chevrolet to victory lane for just the second time this season, his 5th career win in the series, and his 2nd in a row at the Charlotte Roval. The Cup race started out pretty much as the opposite. The track was wet for the green flag, and it had wet spots on the track throughout the afternoon. However, no torrential downpours like we saw during the Xfinity race. We move to 37 laps to go. Bubba Wallace in the 43 is going to send it in up the inside and absolutely turn the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse. Everybody's able to avoid him. Then the next lap, the leader, the 12, Ryan Blaney, he's in the grass and he's spinning. He drifted off course, got into the grass and into the water and spun it, and everybody's able to make it through, albeit barely, as the 42 of Matt Kenseth almost hits him, as well as the 53 car. But in the end, nobody could stop Chase Elliott as he wins his 2nd race in a row at the Roval and his 4th straight road course win, tying Jeff Gordon for the record. For SUTV News, I'm Jacob Hitz.
NASCAR heads to Kansas Speedway this weekend with the trucks racing Friday night, the Xfinity Series Saturday, and the Cup Series on Sunday. This past weekend in college football was full of exciting games. SUTV's Nolan Hoffman has the latest.
Texas, Oklahoma, fourth overtime, 2nd and 10. Spencer Rattler over the middle as he hooks up with Drake Stoops for the touchdown and takes the lead 53-45. Now, Texas has to score a touchdown to send it to a 5th overtime, and Sam Ehlinger attempts a pass into the end zone. But it is picked off by Trey Brown, and Oklahoma survives and continues to have Texas's number as of late in this series. This game was just the second in the history of the Oklahoma-Texas rivalry to go to overtime, and the 98 combined points are the most in series history. It's the 3rd consecutive win for Oklahoma over the Longhorns, and the Sooners' 5th win in the past 6 games. What a game! Next up, Alabama, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. I love the face mask, by the way. First up, 7-0 Ole Miss, 2nd and 10. Mac Jones makes a good pass here to Jalen Waddle for the 22-yard gain. 1st and 10, Mac Jones swings it over to the speedy Devontae Smith, and he scores 14-yard touchdown. We're tied up at 7. All tied up at 7. Alabama, Mac Jones is going to swing it over to Najee Harris, and he makes a great play after the catch. And look at this hurdle. Oh my goodness, Najee Harris showing why he's one of the best running backs in the country. Next up, Alabama knocking at the goal line, but Najee Harris, he's going to fumble here, and Ole Miss is going to recover it. They're going to get the ball back. Now, Matt Corral hands it off to Jerron Ely as he has a huge gain up the middle on a 3rd and 27. Next up, the ball is handed off to Ely again, and he's going to score, and Ole Miss is going to be out in front 14-7 over Alabama. Next up, Mac Jones, play action, and he's got Devontae Smith again, and he's rumbling, and he's stumbling, and he's down to about the 20-yard line. 2nd and goal, Jones is going to hand it off to Brian Robinson, and he's going to score. It's a 1-yard touchdown run for Brian Robinson, and Alabama ties it up at 14. Next up, Quarles is going to hand it off to Snoop Connors, and he's going to go off for a huge run around the 10-yard line. Next up, 2nd and goal, and Connors is going to get the ball again, and he's going to score, and Ole Miss is going to take the lead 21-14. Ensuing possession, Alabama trying to answer and tied up. Najee Harris is going to get the ball, and he's going to score. Eventually, Alabama would win this game 63-48 in an incredible shootout. Next up, number 5, Notre Dame at home taking on Florida State. So here we go. Notre Dame down by 3 already to FSU. Ian Brook over the middle. He's got Michael Mayer, and he's going to score, and Notre Dame's going to take a 7-3 lead. Next up, Notre Dame 7-3. Brook is going to hand it off to Kyron Williams, and he's going to go all the way for a touchdown, a 46-yard touchdown for Kyron Williams, and Notre Dame up 14-3. Ensuing possession, FSU down 14-3, and Jordan Travis is going to get it in the end zone for a 4-yard touchdown. FSU hanging around Notre Dame. So, FSU with the ball back, still down by 4. Jordan Travis is going to send the ball deep, and he's got Tamorrion Terry, and he's going to score with a long 48-yard touchdown. And FSU, shocking, the Irish. Now, Notre Dame, 2nd and goal, down by 3 points, and Kyron Williams is going to get the ball again, and he's going to score, and Notre Dame is going to take the lead 21-17. So here we go. Notre Dame with the ball back, 21-17, and Chris Tyree is going to shake it loose, and he's going to go all the way for a touchdown, a 45-yard touchdown, and Notre Dame now up 28-17. Notre Dame up 28-20, and Ian Brook is going to find Braden Lindsey here, and Notre Dame is going to take a 35-20 lead at the half. And finally, Ian Brook here is going to take it in himself, and Notre Dame is going to be up 42-26 and eventually would win the game by that score, shutting down FSU in the second half. With SUTV News, this is Nolan Huffman.
Next week's games include a SAC showdown between Georgia and Alabama, and Florida taking on LSU, with both teams needing a win. Many NHL players will find themselves in new uniforms next season. SUTV's Patrick Ramsdell tells us more.
With the conclusion of the 2019-2020 NHL season, the National Hockey League wasted no time in getting right back into free agent frenzy. Former Arizona Coyote Taylor Hall signed a 1-year, $8 million deal to go to the Buffalo Sabres. Former LA King and Vancouver Canuck Tyler Toffoli signed a 4-year, $17 million deal to play for the Montreal Canadiens. Boston Bruins defenseman Torrey Krug signed a 7-year, $45.5 million contract to play for the St. Louis Blues. Goalies were a hot commodity during free agency so far, as two-time Stanley Cup champion for the Pittsburgh Penguins Matt Murray signed a 4-year, $25 million deal for the Ottawa Senators. New York Rangers legend Henrik Lundqvist is finally moving on, and he's moving to the Washington Capitals as he signed a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. With Lundqvist going to Washington, that means Holtby was on the move, and he would head to Vancouver after signing a 2-year, $8.6 million contract. Well, if Holtby is going to Vancouver, then that means Markstrom is going to make his way to Calgary, and he signed a 6-year, $36 million contract. Free agency isn't over yet, as there's still many notable names left up on the board, one of which is Alex Pietrangelo, the former captain of the St. Louis Blues. Other key names include Joe Thornton, Zdeno Chara, and Patrick Marleau, all veterans who are still trying to find a place in this league. For all the latest updates on the NHL, make sure you tune in to SUTV Sports. I'm Patrick Ramsdale.
While the NHL doesn't have a start date for next season, it is rumored to begin in January. With football back, players have been ditching the quarantine sweats for big-name brands, and Week 5 entrances were nothing less than eye-catching. The Browns' own Baker Mayfield was seen sporting a wide-brimmed fedora paired with a white leather coat, and his teammate Myles Garrett was in a all-pink Frere jumpsuit. Pittsburgh players showed off their own individuality, from country to casual, and showing a little love to their MLB team. Larry Fitzgerald blew all competition out of the water, showing up in a custom neutral plaid suit and Goyer duffel. With COVID-19 restrictions not allowing players to swap jerseys, players have been trying to step up and stand out with their own personal wardrobe. Speaking of showing off clothes, Shippensburg Athletics released a few flash stores where you can get some flashy apparel from now until next week. Ship's baseball and women's tennis teams are all selling spiritwear through BSN Sports until the 21st, and softball is going to sell until the 22nd. Gear includes t-shirts, baseball tees, rain jackets, sweatpants, leggings, and much more. Spiritwear prices start at $25 and can be shipped directly to your home. For more information and to look at more items, go to www.shipraiders.com and click on any of the BSN Flash Store links. While Ship athletes patiently wait to play, their fields get remodeled, SUTV's Mackenzie Mitchell has more.
Seth Grove Stadium and David C. Field, both turf fields for Ship Athletics, have gone under major construction this past week. It's been over 10 years of wear and tear as the original turf was installed in 2010. The artificial turf surfaces will be replaced with new AstroTurf surfaces, as well as minor repairs regarding drainage work. Seth Grove Stadium is home to the football and the track and field teams, and David C. Field, as a part of the Robb Sports Complex, is home to the field hockey, lacrosse, and soccer, as well as club sports and intramural sports. Harry Kershaw, a junior central midfielder from the men's soccer team, states, quote, "I'm happy the new turf has finally been put into action for us to play on. I felt that the old turf was starting to come to its last legs and that our ability on the field was hindered because of it. Now that we have a new turf coming, we can show our qualities during the season." End quote. Ship student athletes hope to play on their new surfaces for their potential spring seasons. Mackenzie Mitchell, SUTV Sports.
Check back in the upcoming weeks for further progress. With the first week of October being Mental Illness Awareness Week, this past week here at Ship, student athletes gathered together to recognize the struggles we all face. Beginning on Sunday, October 4th, the events kicked off with a wellness walk at the Cumberland Valley Railroad Museum. Tuesday was the Trasher Insecurities event in front of Higas Fieldhouse. Wednesday was yoga with field hockey coach Tara Zollinger. On Thursday, student athletes tie-dyed their own masks. Along with these events, there were virtual social media challenges. This week was a success thanks to the Student Athletic Advisory Committee and Tau Kappa. To open everyone's eyes to the issue of mental health and in an effort to end the stigma, you can check out the video about Wellness Week by SUTV's very own Mackenzie Mitchell. The link will be in the description of today's broadcast. That will be it for this week's episode of SUTV Sports. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SUTV News, and check out our website at sutvnews.org. Have a wonderful week, everyone.